Well, we're here at the Hazelwood Hotel, where we've had a very pleasant night, and we're all set at 10:30 to leave to go for the ferry at Plymouth. No real point in hurrying because we don't need to be there until check-in time at 10 o'clock tonight. And very lovely little village, which I think is Ogwell. See the stoker steaming by. Couldn't really resist taking this picture of the Bluebell Woods. Maybe not up to the standards of Surrey, where it's very wooded, and perhaps the carbon monoxide pollution of all the car exhaust actually improves the bluebells, who knows. But it's still very lovely even here down in Devon. And there's the stoker, very kindly holding my bike.
I'm not sure if I am a stoker today.
Well, you might be. You have to stoke and steer. That's dual tasking.
I'm a woman, I can do it.
A bit more open here, and we're on a slight climb as we go up. But what I really wanted to show you was this hill, which, if the video comes out, you might be able to see is peopled by cows, beautifully silhouetted along the ridge, or at least one. This is Staverton Station. The signalman in this box, a manual signal, and the signal has been put down, and the gates are shut. And we're just waiting for the train to come. It's pretty hard work for the fireman here, stoking the engine. Signal's now off, or on I think, and gates are opening. This is the village of South Brent in Dartmoor. This is the village centre.
I'm going.
Having followed some rather obscure signs in Ivy Bridge, a place which doesn't actually endear us to itself very much, being rather scruffy despite having a most beautiful stream running through it, we suddenly come to a bridge like this, steps up, a cycle sign there for what it's worth, and then up on the bridge at the top there's a Sustrans Route 2 sign. no indication of how we're supposed to get there. We can only assume that we actually go up the steps or go up the ramp on the left, but just not good enough. Rather stupidly, as I'm sure you'll realise, we followed the Saucepans route into Plymouth, which is now taking us against the flow of the traffic along this roaring main road, when we know, because we planned it, there's a perfectly good alternative route which is only a few hundred metres further to our right, which would avoid all this and which everybody would much prefer. So why they ever put this here is hard to see. Cycling along this footpath, we're hoping to get away from the Conscience route built by the Highways Agency onto some urban streets, which will at least give us a bit of peace and quiet for some of the rest of the trip into Plymouth. God knows why anybody thinks that we should actually need to cycle beside a road like that. It's just plain stupid. We came across this bridge on the route into Plymouth. It had been closed by the local authority because some of the planks were missing, and the route was blocked off, but the local people obviously didn't find this acceptable and have put a tree across the worst part of the blocked off parts and thrown the barriers into the river. It does seem a shame that the local authority couldn't just come along and replace a couple of the planks. We're now on this very quiet and pleasant route going into Plymouth. We just hope it works its way through. It's a bit neglected really, so one hopes that it doesn't end up by being a dead end. Fine. We've come across this rather unusual feature. We don't have any idea what it is, and there's no explication board, but it's obviously interesting. Now approaching our passport into the town centre, which is that bridge ahead of us, which I hope you can see, despite the fact that I'm more or less shooting straight into the sun. And as you can see, this rather unusual these days cycle route with a dividing tile down the centre to keep pedestrians and cyclists separate, for reasons which only the person who put the route in can possibly explain. Yeah, it's a sort of funny time to go really, isn't it? Because I guess people who have taken advantage of the whole bank holiday are,
that's the thing. Yeah, I think a lot of people, families and stuff, went over on Friday maybe,
Yeah.
and then back today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's a big advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
This is us about to board the ferry. As usual, we get the stupidity that we have to walk. Very amusing when a bicycle's meant to be ridden, but there you go. She hoped that we might be the first on and last off, because the ferry docks and we have to leave at 7 o'clock French time, which is 6 o'clock English time. We'd actually rather stay on as long as possible. Big empty car deck, and we're being directed to a point to the left. Hi, thank you. I was just putting a bike against the railings, which is a string, and we'll tie them on. A very nice couple of deckhands tied the bikes up very securely, and I asked them if it was going to be tranquil, and they said oui. So even though they're tied up, we hope we won't need to worry too much about them falling over. So here we are on the Brittany ferry to go into Roscoff, the end of the first part of our trip from Weymouth to Plymouth. It seems to have gone very well. We've had really nice rides in absolutely lovely weather. I think if we could do it again, we probably would have taken an extra day so that we could have actually done the 12 miles or 18 kilometres from Starcross to Newton Abbot by bicycle, but that's for another time. And also I think we perhaps would have then been able to spend a bit more time on the Jurassic Coast.
Yes, I think a little bit longer.
A little bit longer. At the
At our
moment,
speed.
yeah. I mean, at the moment it's quite hard to find places to stay all the way along the route, especially in the country areas, unless you actually know where they are. So that would be something which would be improved if the cycle project takes off, and would be a good move. And so we're now looking forward to the French part of our trip.
Night night.